Welcome back to The Point. As the election progresses, is the Congress party coming under increasing pressure? That's the key issue I shall discuss today with the Minister for Commerce and Industry, Anand Sharma. Mr. Sharma, let's start with the recent comment you made at a press conference picked up by The Hindu just a couple of days ago about the BJP's advertising campaign. You said, a back-of-the-envelope calculation puts the expenditure bill for the Modi campaign in the vicinity of 10,000 crore. That figure is so big, it's not only unbelievable, most would say it's rubbish.
I'll tell you how. Because it has been done by people who have knowledge about this. If you look at the advertisements in national dailies, it's not a front page or the back page. It's four pages running for weeks. You have to calculate as to, even at discounted rates, what it would be. In all the regional papers, it has been going on for months, but even before the elections have rolled out.
Mr. Sharma, the BJP probably doesn't have 10,000 crore. Leave aside, be able to spend that on advertising alone. They simply don't have that
So
much money.
where's this money coming? You know, do you think it is for free? The newspapers have donated the space for charity.
No, I'm putting to you that your back-of-the-envelope calculation is horrifically wrong. 10,000 crore is an astronomical amount.
I think it's on the lower side.
It's on the lower side?
It's on the lower side. I'll tell you, BJP's own calculations per rally, after the Kanpur rally, allow me now to complete.
You were talking about advertising.
No, this is also advertising. We put 10,000 crore for the campaign, not only for advertising. Please, let me correct it. For the campaign as such, which includes the rallies, which includes the other material which is being given, from the t-shirts to the caps to the saris and dhotis. But look at the ad campaign itself.
Can I stop you? Because you went one step further. You didn't just say it was 10,000 crore. You then said it's clear that 90% of their campaign is being funded by black money,
yes,
which means 9,000 crore is black.
The BJP will have to explain how they've spent this kind of money.
But how do you know it's black? How do you know it's black?
No, let BJP show checks.
No, hang on a second. You're making an accusation. Surely it's for you to prove the accusation, not for them to prove their innocence.
No, I'm sorry. Their accounts have to be made public.
Well, they will be eventually. They will be, as will Congress accounts.
Of course.
You're making an accusation, and I put it to you, is this calumny?
Karan, let me make it absolutely clear. When you look at, you have traveled all over the country? I have. I'm traveling virtually on a daily basis. Every city, every small town, the entire advertising space has been taken over by hoardings. Is it for free?
Mr. Sharma,
look at the space in the television.
For argument's sake, I accept that the figure of 10,000 is correct, which most wouldn't.
No, I'm not
for
talking.
argument's sake, if I accept it, where do you come up with the claim that 90% of that is black money? That is calumny. That is an attempt.
Are they making check payments?
How
they
do
are
you
saying
know?
that for Kanpur rally,
you're raising questions and answering them yourself in the negative.
No. BJP's media had done the breakup after the Kanpur rally. That Kanpur rally cost was between 12 and 15 crores, 200 rallies, 3D campaigns. This country has never seen this kind of...
Mr. Sharma, that's another matter that we have not seen this. But you've made a charge that 90% of 10,000 crore is black. I'm putting to you, you have no proof. This is an accusation.
I'm not a BJP treasurer. I'm not receiving the funds on their behalf. But how are you making the charge? Because where is the money coming from?
But that's another question. But how do you know it's black?
No, that's what I have said.
No, but how do you know it's black? You're saying it's black.
Do you think it's white money?
Well, it may be.
What they are distributing all over?
It may be. You have to prove it's black.
What? Let the election commission take cognizance.
So you make an unbiased, you make an unfounded charge.
Sorry.
You've made an unfounded charge.
Let me make it.
It's worse. It's an accusation.
Yeah. Please allow me also. Karan, when you ask question, then let me complete my statement. If I'm interrupted mid-sentence, then I can't complete. Issue is, this country has never seen this kind of campaign in any election.
But how do you know it's black money?
Listen. BJP's last audited accounts are in public domain. Now, this kind of money which is coming, most of the spending is not by checks.
How do you know?
The media money they may account for.
You said you're not the BJP treasurer, so how do you know how they're paying? How do you know whether it's by check? How do you know it's black?
I'm quite surprised. Have you seen the rallies? Do you think the buses...
But aren't you jumping to conclusions?
No, I'm not jumping to conclusion. You see Modi's rallies.
You know the paradox? The paradox...
The country is watching this campaign.
Minister, you know...
Nobody's going to believe them.
Minister...
Let the BJP...
I'll tell you why people are skeptical of what I call your accusation.
They will be skeptical about everything what we say.
Let me finish the question, then you answer it. The paradox is just 24 hours before you made this accusation about the BJP, the Times of India in a banner front page headline article said that in fact Congress was suffering a severe shortage of funds. A senior congressman has told the paper, and I'm quoting, between Congress and BJP, they are getting 90% of the money, we are getting just 10%. Are you suffering a serious funding crunch?
Can I tell you one thing? I think yes, but it's not the issue of funding crunch. I think yes.
You are short of money.
I think so. But at the same time, let me inform the people that all the allegations of every possible scam have been made against us, and the money is with them.
No, just a moment.
Money is with them. We don't have the money to spend.
I want to come
It's a
back.
vulgar display and use of money.
I want to pick up on something that you very creditably and honestly admitted, that Congress is short of funds. Do you know what the Times of India has written? They say the big donors, industrialists and other sundry money bags, appear to have divined which way the wind is blowing, and their money is flowing in that direction. And the direction is all to the BJP, not to Congress. So you accept.
Do you think that the 814 million Indian voters, their collective wisdom has been hijacked? People have already decided?
No, that's another matter. But you have accepted that Congress is short of funds.
Yes, we are. I think we are.
And you also accept that the big donors are not giving to you. They're giving.
I'm not saying that.
They're giving
I'm saying
more
we
to the
don't have that
BJP.
kind of money, number one, which BJP has.
And number two?
Narendra Modi has.
Number
two, as a matter of principle, we shall never run a publicity campaign and an election campaign riding on this kind of money.
But leave that principle aside. The paper,
principle is important.
The paper gives details of how shortage of funds is affecting the Congress campaign. They say party managers in Chhattisgarh, Punjab and Maharashtra are complaining of lack of funds.
I won't be privy to these specifics.
This is the front page of the Times of India on the 9th.
If they have had a meeting with the Congress treasurer Motilal Voraji, I do not know.
So you don't deny it? You just don't know about it? You don't know about it?
I know that there is paucity, but I don't keep the accounts. I'm not neither a fundraiser nor an account keeper of the Congress.
The paper goes further. The paper says the flow of money to candidates in Uttar Pradesh
That's what Motilal Vora can answer.
30% lower than what it was 5 years ago.
But I'm not in a position to comment. But could be true. I'm not in a position to confirm or deny.
The paper also says that the most affected are your candidates in Tamil Nadu, who not only are receiving diminished sums from the centre, but are unable to raise anything locally.
I don't send money to the candidates. So what was being sent in the last election, what is being given now, only the party treasurer can tell us.
How do you answer this particular viewpoint? People say that the only reason why Anand Sharma went public and claimed that the BJP was spending 10,000 mark you, on advertising.
Not advertising, on the entire publicity campaign and its elections.
The only reason they say Anand Sharma said that BJP is spending 10,000 on its election campaign and that 90%, that's 9,000 crore is black, is because the Congress is strapped for funds. This is his anguish, this is his frustration.
I'm sorry.
It's sour grapes.
No, it's actually oversimplification. Karan, neither you nor your viewers are blind. People are intelligent. It's there out on public display.
But the conclusion is where we differ. You've jumped to a conclusion the viewers may or may not.
I don't think that these 200 rallies, the high voltage 3D campaigns, these are the campaigns which are funded entirely by black money. The distribution, right from saris to dhotis to t-shirts to caps, the food, the hiring of the buses.
It's all black money.
Well, the BJP will have to account for it. How are they spending? You media write it, or the entire national media wrote, Minister, and they did the back of envelope calculation, that 12 to 15 crore is the cost of one rally.
Let's leave this issue aside. Let the viewers judge for themselves. This is an election time. It's only right that
let people take a tour of the country.
Opinion. Let me now.
Your channel should show it.
Just a moment.
That what is happening all over the country.
The channel is showing a lot. The viewers
what kind of advertising is taking place?
Channel is showing a lot. The viewers will form their opinion.
Of course,
Let's let them form it. Yes. Let's come to another subject. Let's come to the incredible turnouts we saw on Thursday when 91 constituencies went to the poll. 65% in Delhi, 67% in Muzaffarnagar, 73% in Haryana, 74% in Chandigarh, and possibly 76% in Kerala. Of these 91 constituencies, 46 in 2009 were won by Congress. This time, many people believe that the huge turnout is people voting against your government, not for you.
No, I think that this is not an interpretation I'll buy.
Why?
I'll tell you why. This time the voters' awareness, particularly the young people, the kind of campaign which Election Commission has led, everywhere in the country the voters have been made aware. In one single day, 95 lakh new voters were registered in the country, and it went on
Minister,
until the very end.
Can I put this to you? All over the world, it is accepted conventional belief that a large turnout is actually people coming to vote against the government, not to support it. And I put it to you, that not only did you see this large turnout on Thursday, you saw it before that in Assam, and if you see it subsequently, which you're likely to, when will the Congress party leadership sit up and say,
I do not know.
the bell is tolling and it's tolling for us?
Listen, in elections, the bell tolls one way or the other. It doesn't matter. Congress party is 127-year-old political movement of this country, and Congress has...
Is this bell tolling to announce the arrival of Narendra Modi? That's what I'm asking you. Are you suddenly hearing the bell shutting the door for you and opening it
if you are
for
hearing
the BJP?
If you are hearing it, then be cautious. That would be an ominous sign.
That's your interpretation.
Somebody told me...
The country, if it's voted for Narendra Modi, won't be cautious. They may even be welcoming. I'm asking you something else. Are you reading the writing on the wall? Is there a sense of panic in Congress ranks? Do you believe that the door is opening to push you
If
out?
there is panic, would I be talking like that?
This could be bluff and bravado and bluster on your part.
I don't
Just
believe
a
in
brave
that.
face.
There is no pretense. That is with Modi, not with me.
So you don't believe there's a Modi wave?
Well, somebody told me there is a tsunami. I said that can only bring in, along with it, devastation, grief.
That gentleman certainly used the wrong word. You're right to pick him up and twist it around. But at the end of the day, a tsunami sweeps through the land. Is Modi's electoral wave sweeping through the land?
Let's see.
All right, let's see.
Because I will wait for until the last word.
Let's then park this issue aside. Let time tell who's right or who's wrong. Let me now come to...
In a democracy, it's the right of the people. It's their prerogative.
I accept.
They vote, they decide.
Let's, Minister, come to an issue that is right at the top of the front pages this weekend. It's dominating the headlines. It's creating a controversy. I'm talking about Sanjay Baru, the former media advisor to Dr. Manmohan Singh, who's written a book, a biography of the Prime Minister called The Accidental Prime Minister. I want to bring to your attention certain, not just critical, but very dismissive things he says about Dr. Manmohan Singh. First, he says, many believe that in not asserting the authority inherent in his office, he devalued it, his willingness to be pushed around by his party and coalition partners, and to have his decisions publicly challenged by Rahul Gandhi irretrievably damaged his image. Do you accept that Sanjay Baru, who knew Dr. Manmohan Singh perhaps closer than most people between 2004 and 2008, is right that the Prime Minister is damaged by his own weakness?
Well, let me tell you, Prime Minister's office has already rubbished it yesterday. And that is the right source from where the reaction should come. Because it is written about the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister office is on record now. Number two.
Can I interrupt?
No, let me tell you something.
I'll come back to you. Let me just interrupt for 1 second. You're right, the Prime Minister's office has rubbished the book. The problem is, that's what they were expected to do. The book, however, has proof to sustain the charges made. To begin with, the book says that Sonia Gandhi offered the finance ministership in 2009 to Pranab Mukherjee without consulting the Prime Minister. He wanted C. Rangarajan.
Was he sitting in the meeting?
He wanted C. Rangarajan.
No.
The Prime Minister didn't get his way. Sonia Gandhi did.
Let me interject quickly here. Mrs. Gandhi is the chairperson of the UPA. I know that Prime Minister and Mrs. Gandhi, they sit together and consult each other. Ms. Gandhi has always been correct and an upholder of the dignity of the office of Prime Minister.
But she wasn't correct when she offered this job to Pranab Mukherjee without consulting the PM.
Who is saying that? I'm not buying that. Has Dr. Manmohan Singh said it?
So you think this is a lie?
Well, listen, even I'm not privy. Sanjay Baru, media advisor, was appointed later,
but he was
privy.
He may have better sources than you.
I'm sorry. Right. My access to both is better than him.
Let me give you another example.
If Sanjay Baru knows more than P. Chidambaram or Anand Sharma, I'll be shocked.
Let me give you another example where Sanjay Baru suggests that Sonia Gandhi not just once but systematically undermined the Prime Minister. He says Pulok Chatterjee was placed in the PMO at her behest. He would meet her daily. He would seek her instructions on files before they were put up to the Prime Minister for important decisions. Quite clearly, he acted as a remote control in Sonia Gandhi's hands, which was used to direct the Prime Minister the way she wanted to direct him.
Really? It's fiction. Was Sanjay Baru...
Which is fiction.
No,
Pulak Chatterjee was in the PMO. So what's the fiction in it?
Pulak Chatterjee carrying files and having daily meetings. That's not correct.
You don't have to carry a file to get instructions on a file. He may have met her, discussed the issue, and then come back and refer the file upwards.
Let me tell you. That's great. Amazing. This means Sanjay Baru was sitting in those meetings. Or Sanjay Baru was driving Pulak Chatterjee for these meetings. How is Sanjay Baru privy to this? On one hand, Sanjay Baru claims...
Sanjay Baru was in the Prime Minister's office. He was there for 4 years. He was media advisor.
Was Pulak Chatterjee going back and reporting to Sanjay Baru? Has Sanjay Baru seen any of these files?
Things become known. These things can't be kept secret forever.
Here, this is just trying to sell a book. You say something which is sensational, you sell the book well.
Right.
But let me tell you one thing. I think it's important for me. I have been a minister for 9 years. I've worked very closely with the Prime Minister and also with the chairperson of UPA. Mrs. Gandhi has never ever asked for any information when it comes to the functioning of the government or about information on a material which is on government file to which only a minister or prime minister should be privy
All right,
to.
I let you say that without interrupting you because it's only fair you should. There is a second devastating charge that Sanjay Baru makes in that book, this time against Dr. Manmohan Singh. He says Dr. Manmohan Singh's shy and self-effacing manner was probably his strategy for political survival. He's clearly suggesting that Dr. Manmohan Singh used subservience as the way of ensuring he continued in office.
I don't think Prime Minister is subservient. He takes strong decisions when required to. You don't have to be a strong leader by shouting.
You know what Sanjay
as
Baru
it
is
is
suggesting?
happening now and the country is witnessing.
Do you know what Sanjay Baru is suggesting? He's suggesting that there were times when Dr. Manmohan Singh put holding office as a bigger priority than principle or even than his own honor.
This only goes on to prove one thing,
establish
one thing, that Prime Minister made a wrong judgment and he appointed a wrong man in UPA1 as his media advisor.
As a third charge that Sanjay Baru makes against the Prime Minister, this time in relation to the damning scandals that have broken out around your government, Sanjay Baru writes, rather than call him blind, I would say that he sometimes chose to close his eyes. He averted his eyes from corruption. And you know what the implication is? The implication is that the Prime Minister could have acted either to prevent corruption or to tackle it,
Which is
and
the
he
corruption,
chose
by the way?
not to do so.
One is the 2G scam, which is so-called scam. It is sub judice.
There's a specific example in the book. He says Ratan Tata briefed the Prime Minister on Dayanidhi Maran's attempts when Dayanidhi Maran was Telecom Minister to give favours to his brother Kalanidhi's business empire. And the Prime Minister did nothing about it.
If there is an iota of truth in that, then only Ratan Tata or Prime Minister will know.
It may not be long before Ratan Tata corroborates it. Who knows? We just don't know.
That's why I said.
But isn't it worrying for you?
Prime Minister, listen, I can't reveal. There have been instances when matters have been brought to Prime Minister's attention. Even if it is not directly under my charge and he has sought information and reaction or asking us and some of his senior colleagues to find out what he has heard is true. And there are many instances where he has initiated action.
But yet Sanjay Baru is media advisor.
This impression is not a fair impression.
But remember, Sanjay Baru sat beside him in the next door office for 4 years as his media advisor. He was perhaps closer to him than anyone else.
No,
and Sanjay
what about
Baru's
Principal Secretary? What about National Security Advisor?
As close as them.
What about the private
Sanjay
secretaries?
Baru's impression is that the Prime Minister deliberately closed his eyes when it came to corruption. In fact, Sanjay Baru says that the Prime Minister was squeaky clean himself. He ensured that no member of his family indulged in any wrongdoing. But he did not accept... But let me finish. He did not accept any responsibility for the wrongdoing done by his colleagues, his subordinates and his ministers. That's a point Baru
I take
makes.
umbrage to that. What is he trying to say? That all Prime Minister's colleagues are tarred? Tainted?
Not that they're all tainted, but that the Prime Minister didn't worry about what his colleagues did.
Many men and women of honor and integrity who have served this country.
You're missing the point.
No, I am not. I'm not going to accept this, that Prime Minister's colleagues are tainted.
But what about the point that the Prime Minister, when he was aware of taint and corruption, did nothing about it? Doesn't that make the Prime Minister an accomplice?
He has to sell the book. If he says Prime Minister acted, the book will not sell.
Doesn't it make an accomplice?
No. Well,
if you know there's wrongdoing happening and you do nothing to stop
Karan, which government has brought in transparency and accountability? Which government has initiated action? Right from right to information, the amendment of the Prevention of Corruption Act, the Lokpal, Public Procurement Bill, Whistleblowers Act, that is protection of people who are making disclosures in public interest and the state is protecting them.
You know,
we have brought in all these laws.
Do you know one of the things?
We have created a legal framework.
Do you know one of the
institutional
things this
framework.
book establishes that the Prime Minister did not want A. Raja as a minister? For 24 hours he tried to resist and then he caved in.
Yeah,
And he
I
caved
can
in
only-
knowing that he was making a mistake. That underlines two things. A, the Prime Minister's weakness, and B, that the Prime Minister at the end of the day didn't stand up and fight corruption. The easier thing was to look the other way.
Listen, don't confuse one thing.
It's all in the book.
Is it Bible or Gita?
It's written by an insider, not an outsider.
It's
a man
fiction.
who was at Dr.
It's
Manmohan
fiction.
Singh's right hand.
Listen, I again must tell you, cabinets are formed, leadership sits. Ministers even do not know. I never knew about my portfolio. Never, ever. Or if an additional
But not
charge has been
discussing
given.
portfolios.
No,
We're not
is he
discussing
privy
portfolios.
to cabinet formation?
But we're not just talking about
No.
cabinet formation, we're talking about the
How
Prime
does he
Minister's
know?
response to corruption
How does
after
he
he
know?
was aware things were going
Was
wrong.
Prime Minister discussing his cabinet with the Congress President, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, with
You
Sanjay
don't think
Baru
an
and Joe?
intelligent man sitting at the Prime Minister's left or right can make a judgment about the Prime Minister's
Well,
behavior?
the other people sitting there are not intelligent
All
or
right.
less intelligent.
My last
They may disagree with this this
last
deduction.
point about Sanjay Baru's book, the fourth and perhaps for some the most devastating criticism he makes of the Prime Minister, is when he writes about Dr. Manmohan Singh's loyalty to the Gandhi family and his commitment to ensure that Rahul Gandhi succeeds.
What's wrong
and
with
this
that?
is just a moment. This is what
Should Prime
Baru
Minister
says.
be Brutus?
Let me finish.
Loyalty is a bad word.
Let me finish. He says, perpetuating the Congress party's control by one family was Dr. Manmohan Singh's fatal error of judgment. You know what he's suggesting? That in our democracy, rule by a family is an anathema. And the Prime Minister should not have ensured the succession of Rahul Gandhi above all else. And doing so, he behaved not like a Democrat, but like a courtier, like a Darbari.
Karan, I think the country knows the last time a member of the Gandhi family took oath of office was January 1985 when Rajiv Gandhi took the oath as Prime Minister.
Actually, 31st October.
No, that was the last time I'm saying. After 31st, there were general elections, and the last oath taken was in January after the new elections. After that, for 29 years, now it is the 30th year because that was January 1985. No member of this family has taken oath of office. Number two,
That is
Rahul
not
Gandhi
a contradiction to the point that Sanjay Baru is making.
No, Rahul Gandhi has been in
These
parliament
facts
for
are
10 years.
These facts are irrelevant.
What do you mean irrelevant?
The central point that Sanjay Baru is making is that Dr. Manmohan Singh willingly, voluntarily accepted that there was only one center of power, not him, Sonia Gandhi. He actually said so to Sanjay Baru.
Sonia
He says-
Gandhi is not remote controlling. She's the president of the Congress and chairperson
But
of the
she's
coalition.
not the Prime Minister of India.
No, I
the
don't
Prime
think.
Minister in our
She
constitution
has never
is
interfered in the
numero uno.
functioning of the government. But when it comes to the Congress party, it is her responsibility as the party president. Party has given her the right and elected her.
Let me end by
Why
one
should anybody have belly aches as to whom we choose as our leader in the Congress party?
Let me end with one simple question. Repeatedly, when I've brought your attention what Sanjay Baru has said about Dr. Manmohan Singh or about Mrs. Gandhi, you've said it's fiction.
Ms. Gandhi is always correct and proper because I know it.
Just a moment. You've repeatedly said this is fiction. Many will say it's written by a man who served as one of his closest advisors for 4 years. It's written by a man who has a reputation for integrity. They will perhaps
What
believe
about
it.
Prime Minister's other close
Does it not
advisors?
worry you that people will believe Sanjay Baru and that the image left behind of
You
your
see-
government is the one Sanjay Baru has created?
You see, such shockers always attract attention anywhere in the world because you cannot sell unless and until there is some spice and sensation.
And that's all this book is, full stop.
Well, I'm sure.
Anand Sharma, a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.